Welcome to the first episode of BR's morning meeting. Today's topic will be firefighter disability. What is BR's morning meeting? Well, in a sentence, there's no need for you to recreate the wheel. I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've learned over 35 years in the fire service, 20 plus years as a chief officer, as a company officer, and as a firefighter. I'll cover topics that apply to the firefighter on the fire truck all the way up to the chief. So today's first topic is firefighter disability. So the first question we have to ask ourselves when we're talking about a fire department is what needs to be insured? Well, our people, our stuff, and then our liability. And when I talk about liability, what is it we do? The actions that we take, we need to have insurance to cover that liability. So there are three basic elements to an insurance program for a fire department, whether it's volunteer or a career department. There's the package policy, which covers the stuff and the liability. In insurance terms, we call it property and casualty. It covers your buildings, your equipment. Like I talked about, the liability of the operation, professional liability, malpractice. There are all sorts of things that are covered in a package policy. Now, when we talk about covering our people, there's two parts to that. There's the workers' compensation coverage, which is a whole class in and of itself, and I will cover at some point. And then there's the accident and sickness policy. And I'm going to essentially talk about a small part of the accident and sickness policy today when we talk about disability. So one of the things you need to understand about workers' compensation is it doesn't cover everything. It's required by the state of Indiana. It's an assigned risk. We'll talk about what assigned risk means in another episode. Again, the coverage is very limited. So with that limited coverage, we need to have something to go with that to protect our people. Although insurance on the fire department property is important, most fire chiefs, fire departments, township trustees, town councils spend very little time trying to understand the insurance on their people. I think this is a problem. That's what this episode is about. So the accident and sickness policy. There are a whole bunch of benefits in your average accident and sickness policy, but the one I'm going to focus on today is the disability benefit. And in the state of Indiana, the disability benefit, the requirement is a minimum of $300 a week, which is more or less based on minimum wage. And then it has to last for about 5 years, or at least 5 years. Is that going to cover us? Is that what we need, the minimum? I don't think so. So the best way to explain that is I'm going to talk about a fire truck, and it tends to be easier to explain this disability benefit if I talk about something that people spend more time thinking about. So you're constantly thinking about how to insure your fire truck. Well, what if your fire truck isn't properly insured? So you get some money. Let's say you've pretty much totaled the truck. It's pretty much destroyed. So hopefully everybody's all right. And you didn't have it covered for enough to buy the new truck you wanted, or the truck, maybe a really good used truck. You didn't have enough. You don't get enough from the insurance to cover it. Well, you can have a fish fry. You'll have chili suppers. You'll get donations. You'll have a raffle. You'll do all kinds of fundraisers, and you'll have this finite goal of $100,000, $150,000. $200,000, whatever it is, to buy that fire truck, and you'll get there. I've seen it happen many, many times where departments find that goal or have that goal, and they find a way to get there. Now let's talk about if one of our volunteers gets injured. So the minimum coverage on the volunteer fire department, as I said before, is $300 a week. Now, how many of you can live on $300 a week? And on top of that, it's only for 5 years. Now, I know we're going to have fish fries. I remember going to golf outings and chili suppers and bean dinners, people getting donations, raffles, all kinds of things to support a firefighter who had got injured. But how long does that last? It doesn't last very long. Is it going to take care of a 30-year-old volunteer who gets injured and the department has a 5-year, $300 a week disability benefit, not only is that $300 a week not going to cover his normal expenses of taking care of his family, he's got a mortgage and 2 kids, but then he or she, after 5 years, that benefit goes away. So there are a ton of options with an accident and sickness policy. You should spend your time when you're talking to your insurance agent about your insurance. You should spend more time talking about your people, the insurance on your people. That, in my opinion, is what's more important. Now, every episode of this is not going to be about insurance. As a matter of fact, most of it will not be about insurance. But I wanted to start off, since our sponsor is RT Insurance, and that's how I pay the bills, is selling insurance to fire departments, ambulance services, and pretty much any commercial business. Here is my contact information. I offer all kinds of free training. We have all kinds of access to free training that we can offer you. And then on top of that, if you're a customer, there's even more available. We can support you in any way you need. My 2 associates that work on the emergency services side of things are Lana Huffman and Brandy Brandenburg. Our contact information is right there for you. I hope you enjoyed this and look forward to the next episode. Episode 2 will cover something a chief officer needs to know that's not insurance. Thanks for watching.